Commissioner Colleen Stern just said, out of her own lips, she said, under color of law.
That's
now, how do you
exactly what they're
plead?
doing.
Guilty or not guilty or no
But that's
contest?
the trick.
That's the trick.
No one reads the Constitution. Now, the Fifth Amendment, let me just read this quickly because
Read
it's
it.
worth it.
Read it.
The Fifth Amendment, no person shall be
Zoom in
held...
on him.
No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on the presentment or indictment of a grand jury. Now, what does that mean? That means that the government can't prosecute you without getting a grand jury indictment or presentment. And most people in America don't even know what a grand jury indictment or presentment is. That means the government has to go and get 24 people out of their community, and at least 12 of them have to agree and say that we reckon a crime occurred. Because without a grand jury indictment, the government cannot prosecute you. So what they do is they pull you into their little scam courts in a criminal act of fraud and treason, and they say, how do you plead? And when the person says, I'm not guilty, they say, good, you agreed to be prosecuted, didn't you? Let's go ahead and have our merry little prosecution, and we'll get the state to pay me my big fat salary and pension scheme. And it's one of the worst acts of treason, and it's so damn blatant, it's ridiculous. You cannot be prosecuted without a grand jury indictment. And wake up, America. Wake up. It's time you read this damn document, because this is the highest level law of the country. And every damn judge in that courtroom who wears that little black nightie goes and takes an oath to uphold this Constitution. And when they violate that oath, they've committed an act of treason, and that act of treason, the sentence of which is death. We need to wake up, America, and we need to uphold this Constitution and take our rights.
What do you people on the audience think of that? Yeah. I think there's a lot of people agree with you. They just didn't know that because they don't read the Constitution. They don't teach it in school.
Because they go to state school.
You cannot
go to state school. You cannot have the state educating you. By God, you're going to grow up thinking that Abraham Lincoln was honest. He's one of the most dishonest presidents there was. He was so unpopular that he had to go in disguise into the office. Only president ever in history who was fearful of his life, and he had to go and sneak into the back door of the White House.
Well, I don't know about that. I think Bush is fearful for his life. And I'm sure Reagan was after he got shot.
Reagan actually got shot, or an interesting thing. Reagan was trying to get rid of the Federal Reserve Bank.
I know.
That's why he got shot.
Yes, I agree. He was shot because he was thinking about, we don't need the Federal Reserve, which is exactly what I've been saying. Look, they're talking about bailing out AIG. Why? Because the Congress and the U.S. Senators have their what? Their pension funds in AIG investments. So if they go under, your Congress critters, that's Boxer in California and Feinstein, lose a whole pile of money. It's gone. So they bailed them out. If they really want to help the country, do what William Wagner said in my State of the Nation address. You bail out every American. You pay off everybody's car loan, everybody's home loan, everybody's credit card, every student loan, everybody's IRS taxes. You pay it all off with Federal Reserve notes, because that's what they insisted we borrow in. That fractional reserve currency that ended up no reserve currency. You pay them all off, so the next day we're all debt-free. Then my plan was, and this is on my internet channel, under William Wagner, it's up there, how to get out of the debt and solve our economic problems, is you pay off every single debt. So we do that on Monday. Tuesday, you have America debt-free. Houses paid for, cars paid for, anything anybody had a loan on, paid for. Then on Tuesday, we say to the Federal Reserve banks, bye-bye, you're out of here. And by the way, Communist China may want to have a chat with you as you leave our shores.
We should put our military into some good use in collecting the money that was raped by the Federal Reserve Bank.
On Tuesday, we kick the Federal Reserve out, but we confiscate all their gold and silver and all their property in the United States.
No, internationally. They've been
I don't think the United States can do that legally internationally, but in our country,
I'm sure we will have wonderful assistance from every other country in the world who would jump up and down and say, thank you, America, for waking up. Because we need to wake up. The Federal Reserve Bank is a private bank.
It's a private Ponzi scheme.
It's the biggest scam ever.
They've scammed all our gold and silver.
Not only that, they kidnapped our children. They caused all these wars. First, Second, Third World War. They throw us in jail under false charges, and they steal everyone's homes.
And now they're stealing their homes. and you people just keep voting for the scumbuckets.
Well, let's talk
the
about voting.
incumbents.
Okay, you were in the war. Now,
Right.
who of the government and our mainstream media, who do they tell us our two worst enemies are? Saddam Hussein
And Osama bin Laden.
Hussein and Osama. Hussein Osama. What's the difference between Hussein Osama and our president, Hussein Obama?
Well, nothing really.
BS.
But yeah, it's
BS.
propaganda.
It's BS. It's O-S-A-M-A,
Propaganda.
O-B-A-M-A.
Yeah.
The only difference between Hussein Osama and Hussein Obama is BS. It's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Little children, turn off your ears.
Forgive me.
We're a family show here, but
Well, we're not a family show. My kids, I can't even
you
talk to
can't
my
even
kids.
see. You know, I have two.
Yeah,
I have
me
two
too.
sons.
It's my son's birthday.
My
It's his
kids are with a
13th birthday
pedophile.
on Saturday, and I can't even wish him
2
happy
days,
birthday.
and you can't even
And I
say
couldn't
happy
wish my
birthday.
son 9th birthday, William. I could wish him happy birthday
That's a
last
crime.
month, and I
That's a
couldn't
crime.
wish him happy Christmas.
That's a
Why?
crime.
Because a commissioner who's a criminal issued an order to evict me from my home, ordered that I may not communicate with my children, and ordered that I may not submit any evidence in court.
Well, I'm going
Or
to go
file
with you're
anything.
going to court tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
I'm going to go with you. I'm going to document on videotape what goes down tomorrow. So you're going with some media tomorrow. I'll be with you.
We've actually had some media in there. I've had the largest TV channel in Europe come over there. In fact, there's going to be a
Russian
Sexy.
television.
show. Russian TV.
You know, that brings us up another thing. We've got these concentration camp, which I showed you and your Russian film crew. And they didn't like it because it was too small. And I thought about that after the Russians left. I thought that big fenced area over in Vandenberg that you can see if you just take the train, go right through Vandenberg, and you look, there it is. Hello, what's that? Oh, it could be a concentration camp. What makes something a concentration camp?
Well, that's quite a good
What
question.
makes a
Now, you
concentration
see,
camp?
what we're talking about is future concentration camps. 90% of the people in jail, prison, and on probation today have not been prosecuted with any due process. They haven't committed a crime under the law, because under the law, the Constitution being the highest level law of the land, the underlying law is common law. There needs to be 3 elements present for every crime: the act, the intent, and the damage. Actus rea, corpus delicti, and mens rea. Those elements must be present. 90% of the people in our jails, prison, and probation haven't committed a crime under the definition of common law. So they're there as political prisoners. And what are they made to do? Work. What do most of our prisoners do? They work.
For
Have
a
you seen
nickel
the
an
prison
hour or
industry?
something, yeah.
Yeah, we point a finger at China and say, oh, you have slave labor. We have concentration camps in the United States of America today. We have more people in jail, prison, and on probation in the United States of America than every other damn country in the world combined. We're not worse than the worst. We're worse than all the worst combined.
We're
today,
number one.
Today, in here, 2009, we are the worst country in the world. We are prison capital number 1. We already have concentration camps all over, and they want to put a lot more of us in them. That's what we have to wake up about, America. We really have to look at what's going on. And we have to look at these judges, these sheriffs, these CHP officers, and particularly our board of supervisors, and understand and ask them, you're in our community. What the hell are you doing? Follow the Constitution. Constitution's explicit. It's quite clear. You took an oath to follow it, so follow it. And we need to hold them up to their oaths of offices. When they go and prosecute someone without a grand jury indictment, we need to put together a grand jury, and it's real easy to do. If you go to libertyforlife.com, link on the Copper Cards link. And the Copper Cards site is an organization we put together to teach people the law. You yourselves can form a grand jury. Get randomly select 24 people from your community, present the evidence of the crime before those people, and then let them determine whether or not there's enough evidence to prosecute. A grand jury isn't finding someone guilty or not, but what they're determining is whether or not that person can be prosecuted. So form grand juries. When you have a sheriff stopping someone, when you have a CHP officer giving someone a ticket. Now, an infraction has no place in the law. It's not a crime. It's not a commercial act. An infraction was invented by the judiciary. And who do you make your check out to? The Superior Court. The guy is actually giving you the ticket. That officer has just committed an act of treason, a criminal act beyond any measure you can imagine, here in front of you, out in the open, with his little badge. Now we need to wake up, we need to understand what the law says. We need to bring back America back on the course that it was set by the founders. We need to bring back this nation where we the people are sovereign and no one is sovereign over us. We must have a country where there isn't any fiat currency like this Rothschild currency that's owned by the Federal Reserve Bank, because you cannot have a private group owning the bank. Jefferson warned about that. Jefferson said that if you hand your money supply over to private individuals like we've done, the Federal Reserve Bank, you're going to wake up homeless on the continent your fathers conquered. And he's absolutely right. There were 9 million foreclosure actions going on today in America. And those foreclosures are going on when the people borrowed money from the bank. Where did the bank get the money from?
Thin air.
Thin air. They invented out of stale air, actually. They invented the money out of absolutely nothing. If the money you had to borrow to buy your house, because they've created this market which goes out of control, came out of nothing, you owe nothing. What you also have to understand is that that bank is directly responsible for your grandfather's and possibly your father's deaths if they served in any of these wars. You need to understand what's going on in Iraq. You know, they blame Saudi Arabian so-called terrorists for blowing up the World Trade Center. And they ignored building number 7. Building number 7, that 47-story high building. The other side of building number 5 and 6, the World Trade Center complex, which didn't fall down, across the street. It collapsed all by itself.
With no plane hitting it.
With the FBI and the CIA officers in it, with all the evidence of government corruption in them. Just collapsed out of, just boom, like that.
It had the mayor's command center, and it was reinforced to withstand 180-mile-an-hour gale winds, withstand earthquakes, tornadoes, and the thing just came straight down.
So we started. I'm starting a new website, William. It's called stupidrs.com. It's not up yet. Stupidrs.org. Sorry, it's a .org. It's an organization. It's not for profit entirely, so don't send us any money. It's stupidrs.org. And we want to bring into the forefront some of these issues, like separation of church and state. That's a good idea. But by God, you can't let the state educate your kids. It's insane.
Well, if they do...
That's worse than having, George Bush as your pastor. It's only 1 hour a week if the guy goes to church.
If I'm going to have George Bush as my pastor, I might as well just ask Beelzebub to come in and do it firsthand and do it the way the devil wants it done, because stumbling, bumbling George probably couldn't get even the evil words right.
What about Saddam Hussein? Hussein Osama. Forgive me, I'm getting my words mixed up.
Bush is still president, don't you know that, right? George W. Bush is still president because...
Do we actually have a president? I'm not quite sure.
No,
even
he's
if
still
Osama
president.
Bush,
He just slipped on a black skin.
I thought the chairman of the Fed, Bernanke, is our president, isn't he? Chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank. He's in charge.
No, actually, the central bankers, the 18 board of directors of the central bankers
are above
Bernanke.
They're absolutely up there.
And they're really running things. So we're down to our last 5 minutes. I wanted to touch on something here, Clive, because people don't really know. You were giving international seminars on this banking gigabyte and the banking system. You set up the banking system that they're using now in many countries, right?
Well, actually, I put together systems architecture for Intuit's Quicken product, the automated financial services behind the Quicken product.
That's what I meant to say.
I put that architecture together when I worked as a senior technical strategist for Sun Microsystems. But I've built banking systems. And in fact, I was building a next generation banking system with Infotelesis as well.
And the Russian leader in the Duma gave you the Mir, which means peace,
well, actually, they gave
station.
us the space station. Mir is peace. And that was the spark which ended the Cold War, incidentally.
Right. They gave it to you because you intended to break it up into sections and geoposition it, right?
We
to have a
modules,
worldwide educational service where anywhere in the world they could go on a laptop computer and bring down the brightest professors from anywhere.
Actually, the Pirata module we donated to. We were donating the Pirata module to education. That had tremendously advanced earth science monitoring gear on it. We were going to donate that to education. I'll get it Ed Project. In fact, you can go to the Infotelesis.com site. It's the same site as it was 6 years ago when I was shot at when they tried to murder me in front of my kids.
What site is called?
Infotelesis, INFOTELESYS.com.
But here's the point I want to get to. Had you succeeded in doing that, It would have brought education worldwide, globally, on an equal basis. Some kid with a $100 laptop could have downloaded from the satellite English language or any science he wanted to study and see the best professors. That's what you were attempting to do.
Our Get It Ed project was actually exactly doing that. It didn't require Muir even, but Muir was one of the components, and we could still do that. We can still bring in, we can provide kids education in the United States of America at a fraction of the cost of what the government spends on education, which is vastly superior than anything else in the world.
But they won't get brainwashed the way the government wants them to.
Indeed, they won't.
Bingo. And that's why I'm wondering if, do you think possibly, I don't want to get into the nasties, but your wife ran off with your personal assistant, basically.
My personal assistant joined my company about 2-3 months after Space Station Mir. We were completely censored. Russian government gave us Space Station Mir. We had a letter from the chairman of the Duma. Complete support, no issues with respect to credibility.
And they gave you some
And
launch
we were
vehicles. They were
censored.
going to give you launch vehicles.
They gave us 100 launch vehicles. They also gave us 1.74 gigahertz of international telecommunications spectrum, which is a huge amount of spectrum.
Now, is that
they
totally
understood.
lost while you fight your custody battle? My point is, you're fighting your custody battle. You're just trying to get your kids back, and you can't focus on this great thing that would do great things for the world. That's what I'm trying to say.
The government is currently trying to lock me up for the rest of my life. They currently have
Bingo.
5 felonies filed against me.
They got 5 felonies against this guy.
I'm out on $200,000 bail, ordered not to communicate with my children, and ordered not to go within 100 yards of my own home and homestead. I've been evicted from my 5,000 square foot home overlooking Monterey Bay.
Is this a crime by your government people? That's what I'm asking. Do you think there's somebody so evil in our government that they would do this? I want you to have second thoughts. Here's a guy right here in the studio with us who had a space station donated to him. I want to thank you, Clive, for being with us on the show Take Back America.
All right.
In the On Second Thoughts series, I'm William Wagner with my guest Julie Witherspoon, an Iraqi veteran and also a veteran of fighting to just get her kids back and hasn't yet, and Clive, who's also a veteran. Hope you paid close attention, or my YouTube channel, William Wagner. And catch us here, same time, same station next week. See you.
The crime could have only been accomplished with at least the acquaintances and foreknowledge of the only man capable of choreographing the massive cover-up which was immediately launched. It's axiomatic that since the cover-up started even before the shots were fired, the order for JFK's assassination could have only come from his successor, Lyndon B. Johnson. Oh, my goodness. Patterns. We're talking about patterns today, and this pattern that we had in the past has followed us to now. And I'm Pamela Wistrom. Thanks for being with us tonight, and come back soon. Real soon.